7:07 a.m. as we are back here. Dave King, Matt Martin in the mornings on your radio here on KFYO. And as we promised, Curtis Parrish is in the studio. Good morning, Curtis.
Good morning, David. Good morning, Matthew.
We were talking, and until Connor so rudely interrupted us about how far you and I go back. And
a while.
I think it was Channel 28, and of course you were. I was already gone from there. I don't know exactly.
I started there in 1979. I was working first in the sports department for.
How about
Doug Raines, who is the sports director?
Doug Raines, boy, there's
a blast from the past.
Wow.
And then moved to the news department, where I ended up being the chief photographer for Channel 28, and ultimately the assistant news director as well.
Yeah. So I was just trying to think. Were you at Channel 13 ever?
No. I left Channel 28 and went over to Channel 11. I was the assistant news director at 11 for about a year, and that up to 1996. And that's when I left the news business to get into the legislative business. That was the time when Senator Monfort at the time resigned from the Senate to become chancellor, and Robert Duncan, who was the state representative, decided to run for state senator. And so I left the news business to work with him and for him. Mm-hmm. Ended up going to Austin as his legislative aide, and that was in 97. Worked 3 legislative sessions, and ultimately came back to Lubbock following the 2001 session to get my law degree. And so I've been practicing.
What year was that?
I finished my law degree in 2004, and then started practicing after that.
Very good. Well, I know that we go back a long way.
We do.
Our paths crossed.
Well, our paths cross in many different ways.
In so many different ways.
So many different ways, David.
Yeah, they do. But we failed to identify who Curtis is. Well, Curtis is a local attorney, and he is running for our local. Is it the official title, the county judge?
Lubbock
County Judge.
Yeah, Lubbock County Judge. There is only one Lubbock County Judge. The Lubbock County Judge is a very interesting job. It's a hybrid position. It's part administrative and part judicial. The administrative part, which is very fascinating to me, being active and involved in the Lubbock community for so many years. I'm very passionate about sound, fiscal, conservative government. And so I want to make sure that Lubbock County stays very sound and very fiscally conservative. And I want to make sure every single dollar that is spent by our Lubbock County is spent wisely, and that it goes to the people that it needs to go to, so that all the citizens benefit from our tax money and not just small pockets. And that's the beautiful thing about being the Lubbock County Judge. Your entire jurisdiction is the entire county. But the majority of the job actually is the judicial part. And this is the part that I've really kind of built my legal career around, doing probates and guardianships, contracts, business law, government law, and constitutional law. These are the very specializations that are needed to be the Lubbock County Judge. The Lubbock County Judge oversees the probates and guardianships and mental health cases for Lubbock County. They're the court of jurisdiction. And I've done hundreds of probates, and so this is and guardianships
before the Lubbock County Judge, I guess.
Yes, that's right. That's the court of jurisdiction. That's correct.
Yeah.
So my entire legal career, my entire public career, has led me to this calling to be the next Lubbock County Judge.
Yeah. Okay. So again, can you kind of walk us through the duties? Now, you said it's part administrative and part judicial.
That's right.
So are you like the head of the county commissioners?
No, the county commissioners. There are 4 county commissioners and the county judge, and that makes up the county court, the commissioners' court. And then between the 5 of them, now the Lubbock County Judge runs the meetings. Make sure that everything goes fine. You represent the county in budget talks. You represent the county in contracting. Anything that happens with the county is kind of funneled through the county judge. However, you're just a voting member
of
the county. One of the examples that's really good is like anytime there's a contract. For instance, if you're a builder and you're contracting with the county to do some improvements on one of our county buildings, that contract goes through the county judge. And so if you are an independent contractor, you contract with the county for services, for goods, for anything like that, those contracts, we do have an office through the district attorney's office that oversees contracts, but the county judge is the one that signs off on those.
Yeah.
And so my experience in contract law, I think, also helps me to provide oversight to the county to be that good steward of the Lubbock County tax money.
And of course, Lubbock County is one of the most conservative Republican counties in America. So
indeed,
and
as well it should be.
I'm sure, yes. I'm sure you're well aware of that. And
so, as far as the commissioner's court, you said you're one vote in the
of five.
County,
That's
of
correct.
5. Now, just to let people know, they don't have a lot to do with Lubbock, the city, though, right? They do more of like the county roads, the county
the
buildings, the
Lubbock County
Sheriff's Department.
Well,
county.
which the Sheriff's Department's jurisdiction is the entire Lubbock
right.
County.
Well, I understand that.
Plus, also what the Sheriff's Department oversees is the detention center, which all the folks that need to be detained, and that includes the people who live in the city of Lubbock, are guests of the sheriff out at the Lubbock County Detention Center. So it's not necessarily just the borders aren't for Lubbock County to keep them out. It's the borders are really city limits tells us what the jurisdiction of the city is. The county border tells us what the jurisdiction of Lubbock County is. Now, we do have about 1,200 miles of county roads that the Commissioner's Court oversees. Each of the 4 commissioners have their own precinct where they manage and control the roads in their precinct. But the county judge then, his job then is to bring all of that together and to see the whole picture, to see the big picture of what's best for Lubbock County, not just what's best for a neighborhood. And so working with all 4 commissioners is vitally important job of the county judge.
okay, let's take a quick break and we'll be right back. News Talk 95.1 FM and 790 AM. We are KFYO Mornings with Dave King and Matt Martin. It is 7:21 AM. Back with Curtis Parrish, running for Lubbock County Judge position.
Good
Curtis,
morning.
Tom Head is now our current Lubbock County Judge. Now,
Yes, he has served admirably. So, for past now almost at the end of his term, it'll be 20 years. He's been
what is
Lubbock
his
County Judge.
status?
You'll have to talk to Tom about that. Whether he's
But has he made it known that he is not planning to run for re-election?
again, you're going to have to talk to
Okay.
Judge Head about that.
All right. That's not public. That's not public
Well,
knowledge yet.
that's up to him. Whether his decision to run for re-election or not
Okay.
is up to Judge Head. But I will say that as a county judge, I've really appreciated, as an attorney, serving my clients and going before him in his court. I've really appreciated the way he has operated as a Lubbock County judge, and have watched him not only judicially over the years, but also seen the way he's run that commissioner's court, and he's really done an admirable job, and he should be commended.
Well, one thing I want to talk about is the budget. As we were talking off mic, Lubbock, at least the city of Lubbock, I don't know if it's so true in the little town surrounding Lubbock. Lubbock is growing by leaps and bounds. I mean,
even in the county, you bet it is. It's growing substantially in the county. We're seeing good, strong, steady growth in Lubbock County.
in the little towns.
Yeah, sure. In the rural areas, just outside the city limits,
people are moving out there because they have awesome school districts in a lot of those counties, small schools, and so a lot of them are growing very quickly.
You look at some of the faster growing school districts in the state are Friendship, Cooper, shallow water.
Shallow water is doing really well.
Yeah, these our rural communities in Lubbock are doing very, very well.
Yeah, but that's contiguous, right, with Lubbock.
Well,
So
I mean, Lubbock County is 40
it's-
square miles. We've got 1,200 miles of county road, and when you're talking about roads specifically, you're talking about budget. A big part of what Lubbock County does is maintain its county roads.
Yeah, and I'm guessing that the other big part, or at least one of the big budget items, is the sheriff's department.
Is justice. That's exactly right. It's running the sheriff's department, funding and budgeting the sheriff's department. Public safety should be and is my number one concern.
No, absolutely.
Not just the sheriff's department, but we have all these rural volunteer fire departments, and these are the ones that keep our citizens safe and secure in their homes. And so I want to make sure that our volunteer fire departments are well funded and that they're trained. And I want to make sure our sheriff's department, that Sheriff Kelly Rowe has all the tools that he needs to help us all keep safe and secure in our homes, not just the ones who live outside the city limits. But remember, the sheriff's department's jurisdiction is the entire county.
That's right.
And so I want to make sure that our sheriff's department has all the tools that they need to keep all of us in Lubbock County safe and secure.
And I'm guessing at the rate of growth and all that probably that budget's going to need to increase, and they're going to need to add more deputies, more cars.
I think when you're looking, sure. I mean, our sheriff's department, as it grows, needs to grow as well. As our county grows, our sheriff's department needs to grow. But when we look at the overall county budget, we look at the places where we can cut, and we should, places where we can save our taxpayers money, and we should, places where we can be better stewards of our taxpayer dollars, and we should. Right now, our budget for 2017-2018 is kind of holding at 35.8 cents per $100 valuation, which is actually the same tax rate as they had last year. Now, if you look at the general revenue budget, it actually went down from what we had last year to this year's budget, because there were some expenditures that fell in a year ago that are off the books now, like new voting machines. In fact, today is the final day to vote for our constitutional amendment. So I want to encourage people to get out there, exercise your constitutional right to vote. And today is your last day to do that. But when you do go out, you'll see new voting machines. Those have to be paid for by Lubbock County. We are the ones that incur that expense, and so some of that expense is rolled off the books for this last budget cycle.
Okay, we just have a couple of minutes.
No, I just have a quick question. So the county commissioners court was very adamant against what was SB2 became SB1, which was an automatic vote if you raise taxes over a certain percent. Is that something you'd be for or against as far as the state legislators are concerned?
Well, currently what you're talking about is that trigger election.
Right, exactly.
Right now it's at 9%, meaning that if a taxing entity votes to increase its ad valorem tax by 9% or more, then the citizens of that jurisdiction must vote for that.
Right, and so the
Senate wanted to lower it to 4%. The House came back at 5%. It was about a little over 5%. The Senate, I would have supported the 4%. This is not really an issue for Lubbock County. I believe we are great stewards of our money right now. But I do know that any time that you want to go to the citizens and say, we want to increase your taxes, I think the citizens need to have a voice in that.
Yeah.
If you're going to have large building projects, I think the citizens need to have a direct voice in that through the ballot. That's what these elections are for. If you want to increase the taxes for whatever reason, and pick and it could be a good, valid, maybe an emergency reason. That's what we're seeing now down on the Gulf Coast. We're seeing that there are some emergency situations that they're going to need a tax increase to get them through that emergency situation. Then you need to get the citizens and let them weigh in on that.
Okay, Curtis, we have 1 minute.
Sure.
We'd like you to give your speech. Just open the floor to you, and you can say what you want in this last minute about this upcoming election and why you.
Well, I love Lubbock County, and I'm a fifth-generation West Texan, and I feel like my experience and my education have led me to the calling to be the next Lubbock County Judge. I want to be the voice for all the counties for all the communities in our county. I want to be that voice for them. I want to be the voice for Shallowater and New Deal and Idalou and Acuff and Slayton and Roosevelt and Wolforth. I want to be the voice for those communities as well. I'm very passionate about sound fiscal conservative
Curtis,
budgeting.
Sorry to cut you off.
That's fine.
We have a hard break in
good.
5 seconds.
Well, thank you for the opportunity, David. And Matthew, thank you very much.